Morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Afternoon for many, and not evening for, or maybe, Navneeta. He's in the late afternoon and evening.
Okay.
What's interesting about when we meet is the time zones vary every day.
Good to see you again, Bilitis. Daita, good to see you. Good to see you, Paul. Good to see you again, Navneeta, Christina. Real pleasure to see you again. 2 days in a row. Fantastic.
And I don't think you've met Dite. He's from I think he's in Vienna right now. He's joined for the previous sessions in the past, but
Yes,
we haven't seen him recently.
Okay, yeah, I recognize him from a previous session. I'm sure we've connected before. But thank you for joining. Okay.
Paul, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's a good day.
Are you in Toronto?
I am in Toronto at the moment. Yes, it's the first weekend home in quite a while, so it's nice to be here. And Mom actually offered to take the kids, so we're actually going to have like first time since COVID, like a whole 24 hours without anybody. So it should be good. Quite excited about it.
Good. Oh, Dite is just saying that his mic and camera are locked, so no problem. Bilitis, how are you?
Yes, hi everyone. I'm doing great, thank you so much. And
I really like the poster behind you.
yeah, it's actually a family pictures all put together, and
Wow.
And I took the opportunity that it's sunny here compared to where I am normally, so I yes, and now it's going blind.
Good.
I took the opportunity to change of room.
Great. No, wow, it's really nice.
Yeah.
So you made that, you put it on the whole, like you made it, and are those the original pictures, or are they?
Yes, exactly. These are original pictures, and I'm actually at my parents' house, and so they first painted the wall in a black frame. They painted in black, and then they filled up bit by bit the black space. My mother filled up the black space.
Wow, that's really nice.
Yeah, great memory wall.
All right, maybe we can go ahead and, Ed, are you there? We can get started.
Absolutely. Okay. So if you would like to begin. Okay, so first of all, thank you. Hi, Dita. Good to see you. So first of all, I just want to just check in. I can see Christina is still connecting to audio. That may have been a while. Maybe there's an issue there, but I want to say welcome to all of you. I want to say thank you for joining our mantra meditation session. I mean, there's so many different angles in which we can take this particular session, but what I wanted to do to begin with, because I think it will be a good steer for me, is I wanted to check a couple of things. The first thing I'm going to ask you is how many of you have attended a previous mantra meditation session in terms of this particular group? Let's start there. Okay, so Paul has. Okay, and Dita has done so. I just want to check if I'm looking in the chat window just in case there's any. Okay, that's fine. So I just want to check in. Navneeta, have you attended the mantra meditation?
Yeah, I have attended only once.
Okay, and all right, I want to ask Christina because I can see that she's still.
Christina has as well. She has a few times.
Problem. And the second thing I wanted to ask, because I've got a particular agenda in mind which I think could be very useful. But I want to ask, what kind of things did you cover or experience in that previous session? Because I think it will give me a good sense of where you are in terms of the starting point. And that includes you, Rick, and you can feel free to talk about anything that was experienced, anything that you learned in your previous mantra meditation sessions.
So I keep it fairly simple because for most people that have come before, they've maybe seen the session that Sachinandan Swami did. Mm-hmm. And so they've been introduced to the practice, and usually we always set an intention and we remind each other of, what this practice is, why we're doing it, what the mantra in fact means.
Mhm.
And then we use a recording that helps us all stay together on pace.
Excellent. Okay, that's fine. That's good. So yeah, so we have a few things for you. The last question before I begin, and this is to Ricken in particular. So Ricken, tell me the time frame. How long do we have?
I mean, usually we go, usually we can go for like 45 minutes.
Okay, that's good. That's fine. Okay, in that case, excellent. That's all I need to know. Well, I'm going to ask. All right, so we're going to get into this. I'm going to say a few words to set the frame in terms of how we want to think about this and what we want to do. So let's start here. So I have, I think I've mentioned in previous sessions that in 2005, my own spiritual teacher, his name was B.T. Swami, he passed away. I was with him. It was in a place, actually, I know Ricken did a retreat recently there. It was in a place in Pennsylvania, which is called Gita Nagari. And there was some really wonderful and some would say almost mystical experiences that happened around this time. And I'll just share with you one of them. So a friend of my own teacher had an experience where, you know, whether it's a dream or not, there was an experience where they felt that there was a communication. And in this communication, my own teacher was asking this friend of his, and I'm going to ask you this question as well. He said that in every single one of us, okay, he said within every single one of us, there is a good dog and a bad dog fighting for supremacy. Okay. And the question that my teacher asked his friend, he said to him, which of these two dogs are going to win that particular battle? And so when he shared this, or when he asked this question to his friend had no answer, and you know, it may have been a dream, etc. His friend was just completely bewildered and surprised. So then my own teacher, he responded to this friend of his. He said, the one that will win the war is the dog that you feed the most. Now, this story comes from a certain tradition, which is very steeped in wisdom. I'm not sure if it's like a native Indian tradition or if it's some other tradition, but there's a huge tendency in very let's say in very established traditions, lineages which have been around for many centuries and so on. There's a tendency towards narratives of wisdom. And these narratives of wisdom are meant to convey in a very easy to understand form some insight that we can use in life. I was speaking to my wife this morning, and we were talking about something that we discussed yesterday. This idea that we hear something, that we reflect upon it, that we apply this. And that system, these 3 steps, is like an ecology, right? It's an ecological system or an ecosystem, let's say, that whenever we take knowledge and we move through the system, then literally that knowledge becomes part of our being. So the reason why I wanted to start here is I had a very profound understanding that came to me this morning. And that is the world can be divided into 2 groups of individuals. One group of individual is always focused on what they do not want. One group of individual in society is very much focused on tearing down that which is present, seeing the defects in that which is present, seeing the problems in the current situation. Now, it's not to say that the current situation is perfect in any sphere of life. We know that we can always do better. That has been the story of human evolution, that we can improve, we can understand, we can increase, we can refine. But there's a difficulty in when we just see what needs to be torn down. So when I was reflecting upon this, a second point hit me, and that is the extent to which I'm only focused on what needs to be torn down is an indication of something within my own mentality. You know, they say sometimes people see the cup as half full or half empty. Now, in my 25 years of study of these Eastern teachings, it became more and more apparent to me, and this is where I am in my own life journey at this time. It became more and more apparent to me that one of the most profound ways that we can improve any situation is to feed that which is of a superior quality. When we feed that which is of superior quality, as it becomes nourished, as it becomes strengthened, as it becomes reinforced, it takes up space. If something is truly superior, then whenever you are faced in a situation where there are two alternatives between a superior and an inferior manifestation, let's say, if something is truly superior, and if we are truly honest in our evaluation, then we will always be able to see. If something is truly superior, its own inherent qualities to an honest person, let's be honest, sometimes people are not honest, but to an honest person, if something is truly superior, its own inherent qualities to an honest and mature person will be self-evident. Now, a friend of mine was talking about this in different capacities. First of all, we'll talk about it on the level of wellness. In Ayurveda, when people have illnesses, they do not just attack the illness. That's not the primary orientation. Ayurveda is a very ancient system of medicine. The Ayurvedic system of medicine, what it will do is it will reinforce, for example, the immune system. It will reinforce healthy digestion. It will reinforce healthy metabolism, with the understanding that if we can do the things which, if there's an illness in the first place, it means something is out of balance. Point number one. Point number two, by reinforcing the healthy system, the healthy immune system, the healthy digestion, what that will do is it will minimize and ultimately put back into balance and harmony that which is out of balance. Okay, so that's from the Ayurvedic point of view. Second experience is from the social perspective. I pull a post out recently. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you this post because I think it really speaks to this particular point that I'd like to convey to you. So this is something that I put on Instagram. It was a few weeks ago, it was a few days ago. So I'll just read this out. We increasingly live in a world of division, but we always have the opportunity to access a deeper, more compassionate perspective on life. This deeper way of seeing the world does not focus on whether people or events are good or bad. Instead, this approach considers whether a person or situation is compatible or incompatible with our journey of growth. It's always a choice, vision or division. The reason why I put that post out a few days ago is because I saw in the world, unfortunately, that we have increasing division. Have you noticed that? Increasingly, whether it's one gender versus another gender, one race versus another race, one political orientation versus another political orientation, there's this increasing sense of division rather than an increasing sense of the vision of harmony. This is the context in which we're going to do this activity. This activity and this mantra meditation we're doing today is in the spirit of strengthening the good dog. It's in the spirit of strengthening the higher self. The good dog represents the higher self. And what I've seen in my, however many years of practice, and what I'm really excited about, to be honest with you, what is really infusing me more and more, and I've been doing a lot of internal work on this over the last few months, and I'm already experiencing certain breakthroughs and certain transformations. What is exciting me is that if we nourish if we nourish the higher self, that within us, which is of a more moral nature, which is of a more compassionate nature, which is of even a more perceptive nature. Ultimately, we would sometimes argue the metaphysical, the spiritual. Some people in some traditions, they'll talk about the living force. That if we nourish that, it puts everything else in its proper context, right? And I do mean that. I mean that very sincerely. The difficulty in many cases is that people who have a higher value system, we've allowed ourselves, or sometimes we've actually been perceived to be impractical. There's a need for human survival, right? So many of you are business people. There's a need for success in the worldly sense. There's a need for business. There's a need for material facility and resources. But what we have to do in the modern society is we have to make sure that everything is in its proper place. If we have great material facility, aptitude, business acumen, and if it's all utilized for a higher purpose, we can have the most extraordinary civilization that humankind has ever seen. And there's a narrative by one spiritual teacher who talks about this. He talks about the best of the East and the best of the West. He says that the West is like a blind man and the East is like a lame man. So when you marry Eastern vision with Western expertise, you can do extraordinary things. So in that spirit, we're going to engage in this mantra meditation activity. The mantra meditation activity, which I think a few of you have already been introduced to, is an extremely powerful means of internal nourishment. We often find that we struggle to let go of certain habits that we know are not so good for us. We often find that we struggle to find the strength to move our lives in the direction that we want to move them into. We sometimes struggle that transformation is a great ideal, but to pull it into practice is not always so easy. In my 25 years or so of being connected to this practice, I've seen that it is literally a game changer for consciousness. That by this meditation practice that some of you have done previously and were introduced to by Satyananda Swami, I have found the ability to tap into deep levels of internal strength. And that strength or capacity has then allowed us not only to act or orientate ourselves in a different way, but I'll be honest with you, it has increasingly helped us to have a deeper sense of perception about literally every area of life. In the Sanskrit, they call this Cheto Darpana Marjanam. The idea is that actually we see the world through the lens of our own mind. So the more the mind is clear, the more our perception of the world is accurate, is clear, is vivid. And because we can see every situation very, very clearly, including the ability to see ourselves clearly, then we can navigate our lives in such a way that we are able to truly come into contact with real happiness. This morning, I was creating some more content for Instagram. So we came up with about 20 or so posts this morning. And one of them really spoke to that idea, really spoke to the idea that if we work on ourselves, if we really clear the consciousness, then we can really see what is truly going to make me happy in a deep sense. The one other thing I'll add is that with this meditation practice, not only does it help us to have clarity, but the practice in of itself helps us to connect with true happiness. Okay, that's a big claim. But I'll say that again. The practice itself is itself a means of directly perceiving true happiness. But with any practice, it's something that we become expert with over time. Okay, so the one last thing, so I'm going to summarize the point that I've made, the points that I've made. Then we're going to get ourselves into a space of being centered. And from that space of being centered, where the mind is more easily able to be attentive, then we're going to engage in the practice together. So, in summary, we have a good dog or a bad dog inside us. Much of what constitutes modern society simply feeds the more material side of us. But there's a place for the material side. There's a place for looking after the body. There's a place for looking after the mind. But then it's a question of why. Right? And we want to have everything in its proper place. This mantra meditation, it does what is not done in other areas of life. It really helps fundamentally to feed the higher self, which gives us clarity and gives us a taste of deep internal happiness. Okay, so that's point number one. So now the second point is that in order to have this, in order to get the most from our meditation practice, we want to be in a state of attention. So being attentive and being centered come together. The more an individual is centered within themselves, the more that they are also attentive. So let's get into this. I'm going to ask you to sit up straight. Okay. We're going to do a short setting of intention, which is really about being centered. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. And I'm going to ask you just to allow yourself to relax. From the top of the head, slowly cascading down. Just imagine any tension literally running down the body. It's running down just like rivulets or streams of water running down the body. Running down from the top of the head, running down the face, just releasing any tension. It's like water running down a mountain. Just allow that water, the streams of relaxation, to just run down your body, to run even through your body. Relaxing literally every fiber of the skin, every muscle, every tendon, making you more relaxed. The stream of relaxation running down your body, through your body, making you more and more relaxed. And as you relax, as we let go of any tension, any issues from the weeks, days, months, years, we let them run away. Run like a stream of water all the way down the body, into the earth, into the ground, leaving us forever. All tension, leaving us forever, leaving only a relaxed and centered you, a relaxed and centered individual. And just experience how your mind, free of the anchors of tension, is now more naturally centered, peaceful, and relaxed. Whenever you wish to, you can practice this meditation of releasing all tension, just like a waterfall, a stream releases its waters down the mountain, cascading, refreshing, washing all the surfaces that it cascades down, freeing them of any impurities, any tension, any baggage, letting it go. Allow yourself to feel and to be in this state of centered relaxation. And with your eyes closed, we're going to set this intention. This intention is now set within the fertile soil of the relaxed and released and centered mind. In our minds, we're going to set this intention that for the next however many minutes that we do this meditation, for this period, we're going to, in a relaxed but attentive way, we're going to stay with the sound. When we start this meditation, for the duration of this meditation, in a relaxed but attentive way, we're going to set the intention that we will associate and stay with the sound in order to get the most from our time together. I'm going to ask everyone to stay with your eyes closed, stay in this centered position. And while you're doing this, I'm just going to touch base with Rikin. So stay in your centered approach. Stay centered, just stay with your eyes closed in the centered space. And Rikin, I'm going to ask you, the recording that we usually chant, do we chant with that recording? Or do we use a recording in the background? Yep. So prepare that recording, Rikin. Okay.
We'll use it in the background.
Okay, so prepare the recording in a moment. We're going to stay with the sound. I'll tell you when to start playing, but if you just have that ready. We're going to stay with the sound. This is the single most important thing that we can do in our mantra meditation, is to allow our mind to stay with the sound while we engage in the meditation. So, when Satchidananda Maharaj did the meditation with you, he explained that this 16-syllable mantra that we will use is very, very powerful, because the mantra that we will use has unlimited power. The mantra that we will use is especially given to us to cleanse the mind and to reconnect us literally to the source of everything, the source of being, the source of strength, the source of happiness. So the main thing I'd like you to do when we chant together, this is what we call the Maha Mantra, is we will chant it at the same pace together. And I really want you to, the one thing I want you to do is to stay with the sound, okay? You don't have to do anything else but to hear the sound attentively. You can hear it attentively, and some of you may feel, as you're chanting, you may feel how something inside of you, the very, very essence of who you are, is being nourished and is being strengthened, okay? So we're going to do this. We will do this for maybe 15 minutes or so, depending on how we go for time, and then we will go from there. This mantra is translated as saying, "Dear Divine Feminine and dear All Attractive, please allow me to fully connect and accept." So please allow me to fully connect with you, and please allow me to be accepted, to be connected with you, okay? It is ultimately a request for union, for yoga. And especially in the tradition, of the Eastern tradition that it comes from, is an understanding that by service, the highest connection is achieved. So we're going to play the audio in a moment. You can chant in whichever way is best for you. Some of you, we should chant audibly, but some of you may want to keep your eyes closed because that helps you. Some may want to have their eyes open. That is fine. We should chant audibly. We should chant together. And the most important is stay throughout the session with the sound. Okay, so Rikin, if you start playing, then we will chant along with the recording. Chant with the recording. If you're new, then just hear the recording fully once, and then you can chant after. When you chant with the recording, you will hear me, and you can chant along with me as and when you're ready.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna.
I'm going to ask you all to stay close, silent, stay in that space. And what we want to do as we bring this to a close, I just want you to tune in with your eyes closed in the centered space. Same attention, just tune within to really experience whatever gifts, whatever nourishment, whatever strength you gained in this meditation practice. The success of life is our ability to be in touch, literally, to be in touch with the internal, to be in touch with our true source, to be in touch with, and literally to live from the basis or from the platform of that true self. So just take a few moments inside just to recognize and to become even more acquainted and familiar with that feeling and those gifts that have come from this mantra. As we said at the beginning, this mantra refers to the divine feminine. So Hare means the divine feminine. Krishna means the all-attractive, supreme. Rama means reservoir of all pleasure. So this mantra, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This 16-syllable mantra that we've all been meditating with, literally together, is saying, dear feminine, dear divine feminine, dear supreme, all attractive, please engage me, please allow me to connect with you in loving connection, loving service. This is considered the Maha. Maha is a Sanskrit word which means great or greatest. It's considered the greatest mantra in this age. And just by this practice of mantra meditation, with this specific mantra, one can experience all kinds of deep inner happiness. Actually, the word that's used in Sanskrit, which is an ancient Indian language, is Ananda, which literally means bliss. Bliss or ecstasy of a deep and of a completely inconceivable nature. So, thank you for engaging in this powerful practice today. When we do things together like this, there's even more power. And this mantra is increasingly being used around the world in different circles. Some of you may be familiar in the yoga circle, in the yoga scene. There's a tremendous recognition of the power of this mantra, where it's done collectively, and they sometimes call this kirtan, Kirtan. It's a very, very powerful practice, going back literally thousands of years. So thank you very much for engaging in the session today. It was really wonderful to engage with all of you. Thank you, Daita, for your message. Thank you for being part of this. I really mean that. And we'll maybe wrap up, but if anyone would like to, because this also reinforces the practice within ourselves. Gratitude reinforces any practice. If anyone would like to, you can share any experience or benefits but your feeling that you felt from the practice itself, or even the aftermath, what happened after the practice, anything that came within your heart, anything that came within your mind, anything that you experienced positively. If you'd like to share, you're more than welcome, but there's no pressure.
Yes. Yes, simply to say, yeah, for me, I thank you very much, Ed, for and yeah, for me, it was a perfect timing to be with you all today and to have this meditation and to be recentered inside, and so I feel even more peaceful and centered. So and connected to myself and to who I want to be, what I want to do, and step by step more move toward that. Thank you very much for facilitating that.
No, thank you so much for being part of that. It's a collective activity that we've all shared in. So thank you so much, Bilitis. I mean, this can be done also. Anyone can do this on their own. And it's very, very powerful. The more we practice anything, the more benefit, but it's also powerful when we've done this together as well. Paul, I saw you unmuted. I'd love to hear your reflections.
Yes, thank you, Ed and Ricken, for leading and initiating this. This has been fantastic. I love the explanations at the beginning and the good dog and the bad dog, which I'd heard many, many times, but I think we all do struggle with those two, and sort of recentering that was great. But I think at the end, when you just asked us to stay at the end of the meditation to just let it absorb, I'd never done it quite like that, and it was actually quite beautiful. It felt like a bright light and a sort of recentering and a refeeling of everything. It was thank you for doing that. That was great.
No, thank you for being part of it. Thank you so much. Thank you. I think you wanted to share something, please.
Yeah, first of all, I wanted to thank you, Ed, for holding that session, and Ricken, thank you for your amazing energy and all the love you put into these sessions. I feel completely different after that, and thanks everybody in this session for the energy. I had a rough morning with my kids because my wife is at university, and I feel like newborn now, and it was during the session. The sun was out, and it's so foggy out today. It's a very dark day actually, but I felt the sun, and it's so warm now inside me. It is really, yeah, it's really fascinating what was going on. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you for, see, the fact that you all have these experiences is also because of the sincerity with which you stayed with the sound. This mantra is inconceivably powerful, to be really honest. So it's really powerful. Ricken, did you want to share anything?
Yeah, I'll share that, especially when done in the morning time. It's really an opportunity for myself every time that we engage with this mantra is to, I feel there's a sense of clarity in the mind that really opens up us to allow to, when the mind is clear, we can really feel what is happening within ourselves in our body. And I think that's something that we don't often do in the course of our day, is really get a sense for what we feel in our body. But also for myself, there's a sense of groundedness and rootedness that really helps you approach the rest of your activities in the day, because there's an anchoring that comes from this practice. And for those of us that are all, we live various lives that are quite busy, that anchoring really helps to be able to approach things that come at us, especially things that are unexpected. And we can go through it with a lot more focus, confidence, and strength.
Excellent. Thank you very much for sharing that. My experience in chanting with all of you, I feel a strong sense of connection. That's what I felt. A strong sense of connection. yeah, a strong sense of connection to source and connection to a real sense of connection to the real self. So I wanted to say thank you for that as well. And as I said, this is a very profound practice. My teacher, he shared something. I know we need to leave soon, so we'll end soon, but my teacher shared something. And it came to mind as I was hearing from all of you. He said that also what this practice does is it can literally strip away or free us of any kind of, sometimes people get stuck in life. Certain areas maybe stuck, a bit stagnant. It can kind of help us to let go of any of those bonds which are holding us back from growing and developing and flourishing in our lives. So it can help it literally strip away some of those issues that may be holding us back. And it happens on a very, very refined, very, very subtle way. So it's an incredible practice. And we want to say thank you again for being part of this, and feel free to also experiment and explore this practice also in your own time and in your own space as well. So the benefit one can get is unlimited. Okay, so thank you very much. It was really wonderful to spend this time with you, and I look forward to when we connect in our future sessions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ed, for joining us. I just wanted to take this opportunity. We try to meet weekly to do this together, because I think there is a lot of synergy and energy that we get also from each other in doing the practice. But it was nice to have, thank you so much, Ed, for facilitating today's session. And we look forward to having you back again.
Yeah, I'd love to come anytime. Thank you so much. And
all right.
I wish you a great weekend. Honestly, it's a real pleasure to know you all. And I really wish you all success on your journey.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you
Nice
so
to see
much.
Take care.
Nice to see you all.
Thank you.
Take
care.
Bye.
Bye.
See you later, Pilates. Dite, nice meeting you. Bye, Navnita.